If it God not been with you, where would you be today? Just think about our own life. If God had not opened that door, if God had not closed another door, if God had not protected your family, if God had not answered that prayer, if God had not given you strength when you wanted to give up, where would you be today? That is a question we need to ask ourselves. Some of us have stories that nobody else knows. There are battles, challenges in our life where we fought privately. There are tears nobody saw. There are situations you thought would destroy you, but somehow we are still standing here. Why? Because not simply we were strong, not because we had everything under our control, because the Lord was with us, because the Lord was with you. This is the heart of Psalm 124. And today I want us to remember one simple truth. Forgetfulness is the enemy of gratitude. We remember our problems generally, and we remember our disappointments. Usually, if anyone hurts us, we remember them. We will not forget them. But we often forget what God has already done to us. So in Psalm 124, it teaches us three simple things: remember, recognize, respond. First, remember. If it had not been the Lord, Psalm 124 to 126 verses, it begins, if it had not been the Lord who was on our side. David is looking backwards of his life. He is remembering the danger they came through. In verse 2 he says, when men rose up against us. Verse 3 says, they would have been swallowed alive. Verse 4 talks about overwhelming waters. Verse 5 speaks about the waters going over their soul. David is saying, there was a time when we could not have survived without God. And that is where thanksgiving begins. And now let's think about Joseph from the Bible in Genesis. Let's put Joseph's life beside Psalm 124. Joseph had a dream from God, but after receiving the dream, life didn't become easier for Joseph. His brothers hated him, insulted him. They stripped him of his coat. They threw him into a pit. And his brothers sold him as a slave to Egyptians. Later he was falsely accused and ended up in prison. Imagine Joseph sitting in that prison. He could have asked God, God, you have given me the dream. Why am I in this prison? Why am I in this pit? Why am I a slave? Why am I in the prison? There is no answer. But Genesis 39:2 says, the Lord was with Joseph. That is powerful verse in the Bible. God was with Joseph in the pit. God was with Joseph as a slave. God was with Joseph when he was in prison. The locations, circumstances changed in Joseph's life from pit to slave to prison. But God's presence never changed. Our location might change. We might be in different time zones, different locations, part of the country or in some other countries, but God's presence never changed. Joseph couldn't see the palace from the prison, but God could see it. Joseph couldn't see the future from the pit, but God could. Eventually, Joseph went from pit to palace, from prison to leadership. And when he finally looked back, he said, In Genesis 50:20, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. And Joseph was blessed by God when the time came. So now bring it back to the congregation like church. What about you? What is your Joseph story? Where has God brought you from? Maybe there was a time you didn't know how you would survive. Maybe there was a season of rejection. Maybe financial crisis. Maybe a family problem. Maybe a career struggle. Maybe a closed door. Maybe a season when you felt completely alone, and yet God brought you through. So don't only remember the pit, remember the God who was with you in the pit, during the prison, during struggles, during challenges. Don't only remember the struggles, don't only remember the challenges, don't only remember the health condition, don't only remember the accident, but also remember God who sustained you from that situation. Remember the God who has redeemed you from the prison. Don't only remember the problem, remember the God who brought you through the problem. So forgetfulness is the enemy of gratitude. If you don't remember, we don't have gratitude. So the second part of the sermon is recognize. Psalm 124:7 it says, the snare is broken and we have escaped. Now David changes the picture. He says, our soul has escaped as a bird from the snare of the followers. The snare is broken and we have escaped. Imagine a bird caught in a trap. It struggles and it tries to escape. But there seems to be no way out for any escape. Then suddenly the snare breaks and the bird flies free. David says this is what happened to us. The danger was real, the trap was real, but God's deliverance was greater. Think about Daniel's life in the Bible. Daniel is a perfect picture of this. Daniel chose to remain faithful to God. Because of his faithfulness, he was thrown into a lion's den. From a human perspective, it looked like the end of Daniel's life, right? Daniel couldn't fight the lions. He is not a fighter. He is not an army commander, or he is not a soldier to fight the lions. He couldn't escape the den. He couldn't change the king's decree, but God intervened. God shut the mouths of the lions, and the next morning Daniel came out alive. Daniel's testimony could be, the snare was real, but God broke the snare. And church, sometimes God doesn't remove the danger before we enter it. He meets us inside the danger. We might need to face those challenges. We might need to face those struggles. We might need to face those dangers in our life. Daniel entered the lion's den, but God was already there. So now let's ask ourselves, what snare has God broken in my life? What did you think would destroy you? What situation did you think you would never escape? What door looked permanently closed? What battle did you think you couldn't survive? Let's look ourselves today. The snare is broken, you escaped. How many times God has made you escape from the dangers, made you escape from the accidents? And don't take all the credit. Don't say I was lucky. Give the credit to God. I managed somehow. I managed it. It's my hard work. It's my intelligence. It is that I have taken right decisions at the right time because I'm very clever. Don't just take all the credit. Don't steal the credit. Recognize the hand of God. God protected me. God sustained me. God made a way. And sometimes we should thank God not only for the dangers He brought us through, but the dangers He prevented us from ever seeing. There are traps God never allowed you to fall into. There are doors He closed for your protection. There are situations He kept away from you. This is also God's grace. And the third part of the sermon is respond. The last verse of Psalm 124:8. It says, our help is in the name of the Lord. Now David reaches the conclusion, our help is in the name of the Lord who made heaven and earth. David doesn't say our help was in our strength. He doesn't say our help was in our money. He doesn't say our help was in our property. Our help was in our connections, contacts. But David said, our help is in the Lord. So how do we respond now? With gratitude. Lord, thank you for bringing me this far. Thank you for putting me in this position today. And let's worship the Lord. Lord, you deserve the glory. And let's have trust in the Lord. I don't know what tomorrow holds, what will happen tomorrow, but I know you hold tomorrow. You know what will happen tomorrow and in the future. And with faith, I will continue to believe even when I cannot see. With thanksgiving, I will not forget your goodness, Lord. The simple message, you don't need to remember 10 things from today's sermon, but let's remember these 3 things. Remember, recognize, respond. Remember, if it had not been the Lord. Look back and remember God's faithfulness in our life. Recognize the snare is broken and we have escaped. Look at your life and recognize God's hand. Respond, our help is in the name of the Lord. Give God the credit. Worship the Lord, trust the Lord, faith on the Lord, and thanksgiving to the Lord.